Alright guys, welcome back. Survival Living here. So, looks like the Category 4 Hurricane Hilary is not going to be making as much of an impact as far as wind speed as first reported. Alright, when I was looking at it yesterday, that's what it was saying. So, it looks like right now that they're projecting that's just going to be tropical storm winds. Now, before you take a deep breath of relief, I still want you to be preparing for disaster. Now, hear me out on this. This isn't fear porn. This isn't fear mongering. I've been through 5 hurricanes. Yeah. So, in the location that this is going to be making landfall when it actually gets into the United States, and I know it'll be making landfall before then, before it gets into the United States, and it looks like projection is California, you're going to be getting a lot of wind and a lot of rain. I spent some time in California, especially in the desert area. Also, people in Arizona is also going to be getting a lot of rain from this, and also Nevada is desert deadpan. In other words, flash flooding. Okay, it's projected anywhere from a year to 2 year supply of rain is going to be dumped within a day. That's a lot of water, and that desert pan is not going to absorb it. It's going to wash. And when it does, you're going to be dealing with floodwaters and a lot of it. Now, there's some things I want you to do to prepare yourself. You still have a little bit of time. You should be feeling some effects by tonight as far as wind gusts and things like that. We did a video discussing getting basic supplies. Now I want to talk about flood water itself. One of the first things I want to discuss is if there are down power lines in your area, do not go out there and try to move these things. Do not touch these things. Treat it as if power is still on them. There could be feedback power, and it could still have power. You do not want to touch this stuff, so don't mess around with it. You see a down line, don't touch it. All right, you don't want to be a crispy critter. Just don't. Next up, you're going to be dealing with sewage. That's right. I was reading some reports earlier. Even half-inch of rainfall caused a lot of the sewage system to back up. So you're going to be dealing with sewage water. So please stay indoors as much as possible. Don't be walking around in the flood waters much. Quite frankly, there's going to be a lot of disease floating around in it if sewage flushes back up. Yeah, so stay out of that stuff. Next up, I cannot stress out enough, please get water put back. Drinkable water. Go to your tap, fill up what you can. Because with this amount of rainfall in these areas that are going to be flooded, you're going to have to boil your water. Let's just say that the water is still pumping in your area. That water is going to have a boil water notice on it, and if you don't have power, how are you going to do that? Now, I want to stress out, please do not start a grill or a gasoline generator inside your home. You have to have ventilation, or you will carbon monoxide yourself to death. Hear me on that, please. All right, so please use caution. Water is going to be very important for you, because when this flood water comes in, your drinking water is going to get contaminated. All right. Now, as far as the tropical storm winds, I don't know your area well enough to know if the structures are prepared for that. Okay. Treat all high winds as high winds. Don't be sitting there playing around. If it picks something up and slings it across the yard, you don't want to be in its way. So stay indoors as much as possible. Stay away from windows as much as possible. I know this sounds like common sense to a lot of people, but a lot of people do not understand this. And the fact is, there hasn't been a tropical storm in over 80 years there in California. So yeah, stay away from those windows. Don't be looking out the window with wind gusts. Wind gusts can knock that window out. And last thing you want to do is have a lot of lacerations to the face and eyes because of that, or some type of object gets picked up and comes flying through that window. Because when it comes down to it, getting medical services during a storm is going to be very difficult, if not impossible. So use some wisdom, use some common sense. Stay away from the windows during this storm. Also, do what you can right now to hit ATMs, banks, get cash on hand as much as possible, because when everything shuts down, and in my belief these areas that will be affected will be shut down, especially with floodwaters, A lot of stuff's going to be destroyed as far as stores and things like that. So if you don't have enough supplies, when things get back online, at least somewhat, they're not going to be taking debit card because the power is going to be out. If a store does open, it's going to be cash on hand if you need extra supplies. So hopefully you are a prepper, you've been preparing, or you watched my last video and you take heed from all other prepping channels on getting ready for this storm. Alright guys, so everybody that's in the path of this storm, please be careful. Use some wisdom and common sense. We are praying for you. Hopefully it is not much of an impact, but from what I am looking at, it looks like you guys are going to get a lot of rain and a lot of floodwaters because of that. Alright guys, y'all be safe. Speak to y'all later.